An excellent sunny afternoon, and welcome back for another edition of the Stony Brook Media Group's news show.
I'm Chris Kimella.
And I'm Anthony Leon. The coming of spring brings a new season and new stories happening all around us.
That's right, Anthony. You know, we were met with some lingering winter weather earlier this week, but I am so glad to see everything mellowing out into the cool and beautiful temperatures we've been looking for. And while the weather might be calming down, things are really riling up in the Supreme Court. Documents handed over to the investigators of the January 6th attack on the Capitol show that Virginia Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, exchanged texts with the former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows about an attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 U.S. presidential election. The texts were included in 9,000 pages of documents that Meadows had submitted to the January 6th committee. The messages have led to questions about whether Justice Thomas should continue to rule on election cases. Thomas was one of Trump's biggest allies in the Supreme Court. He was also the only justice that noted dissent about the release of White House records regarding the Capitol riots. The New York Times reported that the committee is likely to reach out to Thomas's wife for an interview about her text messages and embrace of election conspiracies.
On February 25th, President Joe Biden announced his nomination of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. She would become the United States' first African-American woman on the Supreme Court if sworn in. Our correspondent Shayla Torres has more on what has happened since then.
There is a strong possibility that there could be the first African-American woman on the Supreme Court. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's hearing ended this March 24th, after an extensive questioning on her career as a judge. For a more expert perspective on the hearings, we spoke with Professor Jeffrey Siegel, a professor in the Political Science Department who is an expert on the Supreme Court and knows the process of how a judge is appointed.
For all federal judges, the president gets to nominate with the advice and consent of the Senate, and the Senate must approve by a simple majority. Now, that simple majority was possibly in doubt for Judge Jackson because the Senate is split 50-50.
Although confirmation hearings are meant to assess the qualifications of the nominee, some wonder whether Judge Jackson received questions irrelevant to her career as a judge.
Or if it was typical, the line of questioning at the confirmation hearing?
The Republicans will say that they were much nicer than the Democrats were to Brett Kavanaugh. I don't know if people remember the Kavanaugh hearings where he was accused of sexual misconduct.
I asked Professor Siegel to elaborate on the concept of packing the court, which was brought up during Judge Jackson's confirmation hearing.
Court packing means to add justices to the court when you have the president and a majority of the Senate to add new justices so that you could win cases more frequently. The last time it was tried, President Franklin Roosevelt in 1937 wanted to add 6 more justices so he could get his New Deal policies through. But even the Democrats were opposed to that.
What do you think that the significance will be of having the first Black woman on the Supreme Court?
Well, that, needless to say, in 250 years of our history, to never have had an African-American female is important. But I think it's Judge Jackson adds a more important type of diversity because race is largely just skin deep. But she was a public defendant, so she has defended poor individuals as a defense attorney, which I don't know that we've ever had a public defender on the Supreme Court.
Professor Siegel argues that since the process is so bipartisan, he predicts that Judge Jackson will not receive much support from the Republican Party, regardless of her qualifications.
Not very long ago, it was the case that highly qualified individuals would get the vast majority of opposite party votes. But these days, highly qualified individuals only get votes from the president's party. most Republicans will vote against Judge Jackson.
Who is on the Supreme Court is going to play a crucial role on the ruling of several anticipated upcoming cases.
The Supreme Court's going to be hearing a case that will overturn Roe v. Wade and other abortion rights decisions. And there will be cases coming to the court about the January 6th insurrection. And you can readily predict how the justices will vote in cases from their ideology, despite the fact that they say that, as Justice Kagan did, that it's law, law, law all the way down.
The Senate Judiciary Committee is planning to vote on Judge Jackson's nomination on April 14th. If approved, the nomination will move to the final vote in the full Senate. This is Shayla Torres for Stony Brook's Media Group.
The 94th Annual Academy Awards took place on Sunday night, and this show had a couple of major firsts. Despite the closure of several movie theaters due to COVID-19, films still thrived. The awards show had its first all-black production team. Will Packer, the Hollywood producer behind films like Girls Trip and Think Like a Man, led the team for the show alongside his co-producer Shayla Cohen. This was also the first time this show had 3 female hosts: Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes. Troy Kotsur became the first deaf man to win an acting Oscar. Coda is the first movie from a streaming service and the first movie to debut at Sundance to win Best Picture. A drama about a deaf family with a hearing daughter who discovers a passion for singing. Audience members even clapped silently in sign language. Later on in the night, Ariana DeBose became the first openly queer woman of color to win an acting Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in West Side Story. She made an uplifting speech following her acceptance.
So to anybody who has ever questioned your identity, ever, or you find yourself living in the gray spaces, I promise you this, there is indeed a place for us. Thank you.
And a confrontation between actor Will Smith and comedian Chris Rock became the most commented moment of the night. During the live event, Smith walked onto the Oscar stage and slapped Rock after the comedian joked about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, saying that he couldn't wait to see Jada in G.I. Jane 2. Pinkett Smith has alopecia, an autoimmune disease that causes hair loss. Later, Smith told Rock to keep Jada's name out of his mouth. Uncensored audio from Australian television confirmed that Smith used explicit language. Smith was awarded the Best Actor award for his role as Richard Williams in King Richard, a film about the famous Williams sisters and their father's role in their success as tennis athletes. He apologized to the Academy and his fellow nominees in his speech. Following these events, the Academy tweeted that it condemns violence of any form.
This week, the Stoller Center, in collaboration with the Jazz Loft, welcomed the Kennedy Dream Project Orchestra. Our correspondent, Catherine Procacci, has more details.
Sunday night, a vibrant audience filled the Stoller Center for an evening of jazz. The Kennedy Dream Project is a performance initiative that was launched in 2019 under the direction of Thomas J. Manuel, the founder and president of the Jazz Loft in Stony Brook.
What a beautiful opportunity to make our statement on this wonderful time that we're in right now. And although there's so much turmoil, if you'd allow me to share my heart, I think we're at a position where we have a wonderful opportunity to make some great change for our world.
He was inspired by the 1967 album of the same name, arranged by the late Oliver Nelson. The album features music inspired by former President John F. Kennedy's New Frontier concept. Oliver Nelson Jr. made an appearance, expressing gratitude for the project and even performed alongside the ensemble. Judy Brown Clarke, Brook McClendon, and Peter THORNE were also on stage narrating some of Kennedy's inaugural words.
The rights of all who wish to be free. And when Americans are sent to Vietnam or West Berlin, we do not ask for whites only. It ought to be possible, therefore, for American students of any color to attend any public institution they select without having to be backed up by troops.
It was just kind of lifting his message and applying it to the music. So we kind of danced together, the music and our saying, and well, we didn't sing, but how we would speak, and that music kind of resonating with the music. It was kind of a dance.
Genuine peace must be the product of many nations, the sum of many acts. It must be dynamic, not static, changing to meet the challenge of each new generation. For peace is a process, a way of solving problems.
The latter half of the show consisted of more current works still aligning with Kennedy's dream for America, many of which continue to resonate now more than ever. For Stony Brook Media Group, I'm Catherine Procacci.
Our favorite Seawolf Wolfie has advanced to the third round of SUNY Mascot Madness after defeating Reggie the Raider from Fulton Montgomery Community College and Rambo from Farmingdale State College. Wolfie is ready to take on Mo the Mustang, hailing from SUNY Morrisville. This charisma competition pits all 32 unique SUNY mascots from Long Island to Canton against each other to determine who is the best mascot in New York. In a series of one-on-ones, you, the community, vote every week for your favorite mascot. Round 3 of the tournament officially begins today, and voting closes on Tuesday, April 5th at 4 o'clock Eastern. Follow the link below to cast your vote and take your school spirit and mascot to the top. Remember, you are allowed one vote a day, and bonus votes are awarded to those who follow the SUNY page on Twitter and follow the instructions. Good luck to all of our competitors this year. And that is a wrap for this week's edition of the Stony Brook Media Group's news show. After today, make sure you make the most of your weekends, because I know Anthony and I plan to enjoy this official spring weather.
Absolutely, Chris. And to our audience at home, thank you for tuning in. And as always, keep staying positive.
And testing negative. I'm Chris Kimella.
And I'm Anthony Leon. Happy April Fool's Day, and enjoy the beautiful weather, Seawolves.